So in this video, we're going to go over everything that came in your box. We're going to start here, and we're going to just go in the clockwise fashion. So first is your L293D IC. It should come on a pink anti-static foam. Next is your Phillips screwdriver. So Phillips is when you have a little cross versus a flathead. And then everything else is what you will need for assembling your cart. So the biggest item is actually your chassis, which you see here. This chassis is made out of clear acrylic, and it's been laser cut, which is really cool. And you can see that there's this piece of paper on top. You are more than welcome to actually peel it off. You're going to need your nails. And you just kind of scrape at it and you can peel it off completely, and it will reveal a very nice clear acrylic. This paper is here just to keep it from getting scratched. I like to keep it on, especially when I'm filming, so that it's easier for you guys to see this as I build. One thing to recommend is you're more than welcome to paint the clear acrylic. If you decide to paint it, I would recommend sanding it really lightly so the paint really holds. You can also use permanent marker and draw on it, and you can also stick on stickers. So next, we're going to start up here, and we're just going to go in a circle. All your cart components, these are your movable motor holders. You should have 4. 2 motors, and I still have my little stickies attached. Yours won't have these. These are just for the purpose of seeing which direction it's spinning in, so it captures it on film. 4 bolts right up here. These are the long bolts. 1 caster wheel. 12 small bolts. These are going to be used for attaching your caster wheel to your chassis. You're also going to have 4 extra short bolts. These are used to attach your battery. We won't be using those. Instead, to attach our battery, your battery will have 2 little stickies on them, so it's a little bit easier and a little bit cleaner for us to attach. You have 4 spacers for your caster wheel, 2 wheels, and you should have 10 nuts right here. We're not going to use all the nuts. We're probably only going to use 4 of them. And so the extra ones are also for your battery. Right, so step 1 is just installing the motor holders. This is your chassis. One thing to know about your chassis is that there are a lot more holes and slots than what we'll be using. So just kind of keep that in mind as I indicate where you want to put your parts. We're gonna first build on the bottom. So I like to have the part with the red, build off of the part with the red, so that when we flip it over, it looks nice and clean. So you're gonna grab your 4 motor holders, and you're gonna just slot them into these 2 slots here. So one goes here, and another one goes here. The first time you slot them in, there's going to be a little bit of friction, so I would recommend just kind of wiggling them in. And then also these 2 will then go here, which you're going to see in step 2 and 3. So this will be a good time for you to pause. So now steps 2 and 3, I'm going to combine these 2, and you're going to see how you actually install your motors. You're going to need your long bolts, which I'm going to put right here, and you're also going to need 4 of your nuts. So I'm going to put them on the right hand side. It's a little bit easier for me to reach. So first you're going to grab one of your motors. You're going to have, when you install your motor, your white axles are going to face the front of your chassis. So this is the front. Also, another thing to do is have your wires outside, so that you can essentially maximize the length of your wires. So when you plug it in, it's a lot easier. So you're going to align it like so. I'm going to align the other motor holder. And then what I like to do is just use my fingers to sandwich them like this. Grab your long bolt. Have the head of your bolt facing the outside, so it's nice and clean, and thread them through your motor holder, your motor, and your other holder. I'm going to try and flip it this way so you can see, and then just use your nut and just thread it on So just use your fingers for now so it's nice and clean. And then you're going to do your bottom bolts, slide it right through. Grab your nut. Right there and just kind of put it on. So this one's actually a little tricky, and what I found is easier is to hold it with one of your fingers, lay it flat, and then come in with your Phillips and just thread it into the nut. Like so. You'll feel it catch. So this is kind of exactly what you want, where it's a little bit loose, and then you can come in and kind of clean it up and fix it up later. It's actually loosen it a little more, tighten it a little too much. If you want it to feel like jiggled. So now we're going to do the other one. So grab your motor. Remember, you want the axles facing the front of your chassis. You want your wires out, so they're a little bit easier for you to plug in. Align your motor holder, and then thread it with bolts. I would say this part is probably one of the trickiest, just because you need a fair amount of eye coordination. So if it's tricky, just kind of take your time, or ask for help for someone to hold one of the components while you assemble. So I'm going to do the same trick here while I'm putting it down. For the catch. Go. So everything's attached, nice and loose. So this would be a good time to pause and get up to speed on steps 2 and 3. So now step 4, installing your caster wheel. And so we're going to need 8 of your little bolts here, your 4 spacers and caster wheel. So we're going to install our spacers first. So grab your 4 spacers on this side. So I'm going to spin it around so it's easy. And you're going to take your caster and just kind of align it to see which holes line up. And you're going to see it's this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, where it lines up like that. So we're going to first install our spacers. So grab one of your bolts, stick it through. One thing you can do that I didn't do here is you can align your caster wheel and just use a pen and mark which holes you want to thread them through, so that it's a little bit easier. The one thing about that that's good is that if you do it small enough where you just do kind of like a little mark, once you put your caster wheel on, you're not going to be able to see where you've marked it. And then these you just want to finger tighten, same as before. We're going to go in afterwards and tighten everything up with our screwdriver. So right now I just want to make sure that things are working. This part in particular, you probably want it to be a little bit wobbly, because later when you put on the caster wheel, if things aren't aligned perfectly, then you have a little bit of room to make sure things fit. So then we're going to line this, put it on. So one thing is, if you are ever bolting in 4 sides, a rectangle or a square, always recommend to do the diagonals first. So come in here, just if you have a tough time, just come in, screwdriver, just very slow. You want it to be loose like this, so you can still move it. And come on the other side. So the reason you want to do your diagonals first is that so you don't end up locking in any of your sides, so there's a little bit more wiggle room, literally and figuratively, when you do your diagonals. And then after we've installed everything, we'll come back and tighten everything to make sure it's really in place and secure. Now I'm just going to just go loose like this. As you can see, everything's nice and jiggly. Right, so now is a good time for you to pause and do the caster wheel assembly. Now we're going to go through and just tighten up all the bolts. Start with your motors. So when you do your motor, I would push your motor up against the chassis so it's really aligned, and then come in, push it, and then push on your nut, and come in and tighten up so it's nice and secure. See, it's really good. Same thing on this side. This is just a reminder, step 5. So hold on to your nut, push the motor up against the chassis. Grab some help if you need some extra hands. This is kind of a tricky part. And then we're going to do the same thing with the caster wheel. So come in on this side, hold the bottom of this piece and just come in and tighten it up. Do your diagonals first so everything fits inside. So what you're not seeing is I'm actually holding the bottom in place. So what I'm doing is I'm holding it down like this. While I tighten it. So one thing to remember is when you tighten clockwise, so righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, so clockwise you're going tighter. So you see how everything is nice and secure. Only our caster wheel jiggling has a chip. So now we're going to stick on our battery pack, step 6. So grab your battery pack, take off your stickies, and then just stick it on right in the middle. It should fit super nicely either this way or this way. It just depends on whichever one you prefer. I like it this way, even though it's different from what's pictured, just because it fits. Go, and there we go. So I'm just going to test it out and make sure it's nice and secure. So step 7 is actually just popping in your wheels and then also installing your Arduino. So I'm going to do this off camera because it's kind of a weird angle. It takes a fair bit of force to actually get the wheels in, so you need to wiggle a little bit and then pop it in, and you can get it in this way. I would take your time with it. Watch out for these chassis parts. That's why I need to do it off camera, because I don't want to accidentally break those parts. So just kind of, and you'll hear that pop, and you know you've gotten it in. So then it should fold pretty nicely like this. So now step 7, now that we have everything assembled, we can install our Arduino and our breadboard. And so our Arduino, I just place it here at the front. I just stuck a little bit of sticky on it, and then we should have included some heavy-duty double-stick tape for you to use. And also your breadboard, I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's also a sticker, so you can peel that off and stick it on. I'm not going to, because I'm going to be moving things around, but you just want to place it right up here. So now it's step 8, just wiring everything up. And so just look at your diagram to make sure you're wiring it up correctly. I'm going to take my 2 motor wires and just plug it in. You see, like, I accidentally bent it out. So if you bend it, just kind of bend it back. It's okay, your wires are very resilient. And then I'm gonna plug in my battery. I'm gonna leave it unplugged for now, and then we'll plug it in the next project. So this is what you should have. Here is your motor, all attached. Your battery pack is stuck underneath. Your chassis is nice and secure. Your Arduino is stuck on, and then my breadboard isn't stuck on, but you are more than welcome to peel off the plastic and stick it on as well. Your tracks are removable, so you can pop them off and you can spin them whichever way you like.